The Patchwork Film I and II is essentially one movie in two sections. It's a very abstract film, and I don't quite know what to make of it in some ways. But you know, when we were making it, half the time we didn't know it was the Patchwork Film. It's bad to say, but you know, it started in the making of ghost footage. We started doing short films and just for fun, and various skits in the middle of making ghost footage 1 in our downtime. We didn't really have any plans other than to just put them up on YouTube at the time. The Patchwork Film I and II is basically a series of dreams, and in the first movie the series of dreams gets told in no particular order, but it's very abstract film. It goes through all these scenarios and dreams. In my mind, they're dreams, but it is open for interpretation, just so you know. They go through the scenarios and dreams, and at the end of the first film, the whole film rewinds and starts right back at the beginning again. And then when we go into the second film, Patchwork II, for silent films, it starts playing a bunch of those scenarios again in a different light, in a different way. They're told in silent film form, and they're very open for interpretation, and it just adds a new aspect to a lot of the scenarios that were presented in the first film. Basically, it's a different way of telling it. It adds new depth to it. It's different. It's like looking at a picture from another angle, kind of. And then also when those scenarios are done playing out again, we played 2 new scenarios, which is the Edgar the Time Traveling Orange short and the Survival short. And those are all silent films. So yeah, that's basically what Patchwork Film I and II turned into. It developed as we were filming it. It grew and changed and formed into something that we couldn't predict. But as we were doing the second one, we realized that, you know, okay, I think this is interesting, really interesting series of movies. And once it was all completed, I then realized, hey, it rewound. I didn't plan that. It was just an interesting way of ending the first movie. At the time, that's what I was thinking. But when I started doing 2 and stuff like that, replaying different events, then I realized, hey, the rewind sequence means that it rewound and played it again. That's what that means. Sometimes when you're doing something very abstract, and it's basically like an art piece, you find out the meaning after it's done, and it presents itself to you. It becomes its own thing. And you just can't predict it. Some things you just can't predict. So the film told me what it meant after I finished making it. And quite proud of Patchwork Film duology. I guess it's a duology. One day Alan and I were having burgers at a restaurant, Chicken Chef I think it was, and we were talking about what we were going to do with these films. And he came up with the idea of, and the title too, he came up with the idea of putting them all together and making a feature film out of it called The Patchwork Film. And I like that idea. It was a pretty good idea, you know. It's a mess, but it's a chaotic mess, and I just like that idea.